Before we rock on, I need to make sure you don't get me wrong. If you think this video is financial advice, I'm afraid you're gravely mistaken. It's just for your entertainment and your education. Contact your financial advisor if you need help bringing home the bacon. If you're new to the crypto game, my name is Guy and crypto is my middle name. My last name is quality content, which is why the Coin Bureau's crypto videos are the best. Coins, tokens, news, reviews, regulations, tutorials, and all the rest. If you want to stay in the know in this wild world of crypto, hit that subscribe button and ping that notification bell down below. You can use the timestamps down there to give your viewing experience some extra flair. I would appreciate it if you stuck around until the end, but I totally understand if you don't have any extra time to spend. So, now that we're in tune, let's see if Audius is headed to the moon. Audius was founded by Roneil Rumburg and Forrest Browning. Both are seasoned computer scientists with Ivy League degrees under their belts, and they've been dabbling in crypto since 2011. Now, by dabbling, I mean they mined a bunch of Bitcoin, sold it near the top of the 2013 bull run, and subsequently went on to start their own VC firms and make early investments into crypto companies like Lightning Labs, which develops Bitcoin's Lightning Network. That is one hell of a hat trick if ever I've seen one. Now anyways, both Roneil and Forrest were huge fans of electronic music, and most of the artists they followed were on SoundCloud. Back in 2014, SoundCloud was all the rage, so much so that it signed a licensing deal with Warner Music Group in November that year. As is the case with all monopolistic business practices, the crackdown on competition duly began. In the months that followed, many of Roneil and Forrest's favourite musicians and tracks were wiped from SoundCloud, including some of their musician friends. Much of this censorship was justified in the name of loosely defined copyright infringement and other problematic policy changes that came in the wake of SoundCloud's deal with Warner. Although SoundCloud had no subscription service or royalties model up until that point, the low barrier to entry for musicians and the randomized streaming algorithm for listeners made it easy for up-and-coming artists to get noticed. This allowed them to make money by playing live and selling merch at their shows. Now, touring is actually how most musicians make most of their money, even those that are signed to a record label. This is because the number of middlemen involved in music production and distribution means the musicians themselves only get pennies on every dollar for every song that's sold. Roneil and Forrest realized that cryptocurrency could offer a solution to these problems, but the technology didn't exist at the time. There was no Ethereum for smart contracts between musicians and fans, nor an operational decentralized storage system to store all the content. By the end of 2017, however, it was clear that the foundations for a decentralized streaming protocol were there. Ethereum had proven itself to be a functional smart contract cryptocurrency, and Protocol Labs, the company behind IPFS, had just raised a record $257 million with its Filecoin ICO. In early 2018, Roneil and Forrest got to work building Audius with the goal of giving musicians a censorship-resistant platform and a much bigger piece of the profit pie. In the summer, Audius raised $5.5 million from various venture capital firms to expand its operations and supercharge development. In September 2019, Audius was complete, and in October 2020, the Audio token began trading on top-tier cryptocurrency exchanges. Now, I'll get back to Audio in a moment. First, let's see what Audius has going on under the hood. The Audius protocol consists of 3 layers: the app layer, the node layer, and the blockchain layer. The app layer includes the Audius website and the Audius app for Android and Apple devices. If you've ever used either of these, you'll know that it doesn't feel like you're using a decentralized application at all. This is primarily because of a special non-custodial browser wallet created by Audius called Hedgehog, which is embedded into Audius's otherwise standard user login process. Now, Hedgehog works by automatically storing the private key of your wallet in your browser in the background, and it automatically completes any transactions you make without a prompt, unlike other browser wallets. The seed phrase to your browser wallet is sent to you via email when you sign up, which is why it instructs you to save that email and not share it with anyone. To the untrained eye, this just looks like another important email, which speaks volumes to just how user-friendly Hedgehog is. Obviously, keeping your wallet seed phrase in your email is not very safe, which is why Audius advises to keep only a small amount of crypto on the wallet at any given time. Fun fact, Audius named its wallets Hedgehog because of the philosophical contrast it has with the fox, which is of course MetaMask's logo. Hedgehogs tend to be simple-minded, whereas foxes are more nuanced in their thinking, apparently. Now, to my understanding, Hedgehog is not fully functional yet, and this has to do with the recent changes Audius made to the node layer of its tech stack. The architecture of Audius's node layer is almost the same as Polygon's. Like Polygon, Audius's node layer is a Layer 2 blockchain that is used for improved scaling, i.e. speed, while remaining compatible with Ethereum. Audius is in the process of swapping out its own permissioned Layer 2 blockchain with Solana, something which began earlier this year. In other words, Audius is using Solana as a Layer 2 for Ethereum, and I'll get into why that is a bit later on. Now, as some of you may recall, Polygon's checkpoint nodes submit snapshots of the state of the plasma chain running Polygon's smart contracts to Ethereum. This makes it possible for users to recover their tokens from Ethereum using the last snapshot on Ethereum if Polygon ever goes down. Similarly, Audius's nodes submit snapshots of the state of the Audius Protocol to Ethereum, specifically the section of the Interplanetary File System, or IPFS, where Audius artists store their music. This makes it possible for Audius artists to retrieve their music and content from IPFS using the last snapshot on Ethereum if Audius ever goes down. Audius actually uses a custom-made extension to IPFS called AudSP to ensure that music can be quickly stored by musicians and retrieved by artists. Now, if you don't know what the IPFS is or how it works, I recommend checking out my video about Filecoin using that link up there in the top right. Anyways, there are two kinds of Audius nodes involved in the storage and retrieval process: content nodes and discovery nodes, respectively. To ensure that content nodes and discovery nodes do their job, they must stake audio tokens on the Ethereum blockchain, which is the third layer in Audius's architecture. At present, content nodes and discovery nodes must stake a minimum of 200,000 audio to take on the role and earn fees from the Audius protocol. That's well over $300,000 at today's prices, which makes for a very high barrier to entry. Now, luckily, it is possible to delegate audio to content nodes and discovery nodes, and this can be done using the Audius Protocol Dashboard in conjunction with MetaMask. The minimum stake for delegation is 100 audio, and the rewards you earn vary on the commission fee set by each node. Note that all audio staked is subject to a 7-day cooldown, aka unlock period. Audius also does slash misbehaving nodes, though this is something which is done manually via community governance and not via blockchain code. Audio staking rewards are around 23% per year, and this is partially due to Audio's annual inflation, which Audius nodes also earn. This conveniently brings me to Audio's tokenomics. Audio is an ERC20 token on the Ethereum blockchain, which began circulating in October last year. It's used for staking, governance, and to unlock rewards on Audius. Audio has an initial supply of 1 billion, and just 5% of it was airdropped to Audius's most active artists and listeners. That said, 18% of Audio's initial supply was allocated to the community treasury, while 40% went to the Audius team and its advisors, who include famous musicians, and the remaining 36% went to Audius's investors, which later included Binance Labs and Coinbase Ventures. These tokens are subject to various vesting schedules, which you can see here. Notice that the overwhelming majority of Audio's supply at any given time is held by the Audius team and its investors. The orange bar you see is Audio's annual inflation rate of 7%, which will be distributed to the most active users of Audius. But for the time being, these newly minted Audio tokens are going to stakers. Now, it's worth pointing out that Audio's effective inflation rate is much higher because of the vesting schedule I just mentioned. Case in point, Audio's initial circulating supply in October was just 120 million. It's been about 10 months, and Audio's circulating supply is now over 400 million. That's more than 3x. Audio's aggressive effective inflation is probably why the token hasn't performed as well as it otherwise could have. When Audio first listed, it was trading for about 50 cents before crashing down to just 7 cents. Now, Audio then had a massive move in March, and this is likely because Audius announced a flurry of new features for its platform, notably Audio badges, which give users additional perks for staking various amounts of audio. Now, it's possible that Audio's price was manipulated prior to the first vesting cliff in April, which tripled its circulating supply. It wouldn't be hard to do, since 50% of Audio's supply is held by a single wallet. Now, to be fair, this could be the wallet containing the tokens vesting to Audius's team, advisors, and investors, but the fact that it's not a smart contract means those tokens can go anywhere at any time. In any case, that price pump in March conveniently cushioned the enormous amount of sell pressure that came in April. Audio's collapse on April 23rd corresponds to the exact day tokens began vesting. Audio duly got wrecked with the rest of the crypto market in mid-May and continued trading sideways until very recently. Now, given that Audius is now part of Solana's ecosystem, Audio has been riding the wave Sol saw because of its ridiculous Degenerate Apes NFTs. Oh, and if you want my most recent take on the NFT market, you can get it up there in the top right. Audius also recently integrated with TikTok, making it possible to use music from Audius in TikTok videos. This is the cause of the recent pump, which saw Audio double in price overnight just a few days ago. In terms of how high Audio could go, I'll start by saying it's now or never. Audio has another vesting cliff coming in October, and this could suppress its price the same way it has in the past. Between now and then, though, I could see Audio hitting $5 again. The reason why I don't see Audio going much higher than that has to do with the fact that it's out of reach to traders in the United States, which is where Audius is headquartered. As per the pop-up, which comes up when you first visit the Audius company website, quote, Audio has not been registered under the US Securities Act of 1933. In plain English, Audio is too similar to being a stock in a company, specifically Audius, and as such it cannot be listed on cryptocurrency exchanges in the United States without passing a lot of red tape. As I mentioned in my recent video about the topic, the SEC has recently been very vocal in singling out cryptocurrencies it believes to be securities, so I imagine it's in Audio's interests to lay low. Even so, Audius has got a lot on the go. Although Audius does not have a concrete roadmap, recent interviews with its founders shed some light on what's on the horizon. You'll hopefully recall that Audius decided to swap out its own permissioned Layer 2 blockchain with Solana in October last year. This is because Audius's reported user base is growing so quickly that it needs an even more scalable solution for its final development hurdle, which is the implementation of stablecoin payments. To put things into perspective, Audius has reportedly grown from 500,000 monthly users to over 5 million monthly users in less than a year. This growth is likely to continue, and Solana is currently the only cryptocurrency on the market that can support the equally exponential amount of stablecoin transactions coming from Audius's users. For those who don't know, Audius is currently free, and all the artists on there are making their money from audio token incentives and stuff like Solana's recently announced Creator Fund. When Audius finally introduces monetization, this could be insanely bullish for Audio. Now, what's interesting is that Audius co-founder Roneil Rumburg mentioned back in May that Audius will not have a monthly subscription model like other music streaming platforms. Instead, Audius will give artists complete control over how their content is monetized. Roneil noted that one artist is thinking of making his music possible to listen to above a certain altitude, meaning you'd only be able to listen to it when traveling on planes or hiking in high mountains. Other possibilities include giving exclusive content to any fans who purchase specific NFTs like those audio badges I mentioned earlier, or even require a one-time payment of $1,000 to access all current and future music. The possibilities here are endless, and Audius hopes that the competition between different subscription and revenue models between artists will result in the best ones being developed not just for Audius, but the entire music industry. This is similar to what we're seeing now in cryptocurrency when it comes to governance, and Audius is one of the projects involved in this race for the optimal debate space. Audius's governance dashboard is where you can go to get a sense of any other developments coming down the pipe. So far, most of these have been technical. Each of these proposals must be voted on by at least 5% of all staked audio, and 50% of this 5% must vote in favour for the proposal to pass. Once passed, funds are taken from the community treasury to pay for the project in question, and this can be vetoed by 6 of 9 Audius community members who hold keys to the treasury wallet. This all sounds pretty legit, but it's worth pointing out that Audius's master plan assumes that stablecoins don't get wrecked by regulators, which is a possibility. Now, this is unfortunately just one of the many concerns I have about Audius. It seems that Audius has quite a few skeletons in its closet, and one of them is a man named Roneil Lankage, a Sri Lankan pop singer who is apparently one of the co-founders and former CEO of Audius. Now, even though there are a few interviews with Roneil on YouTube about Audius, neither of the other 2 Audius co-founders ever mentioned in any of their interviews that Roneil was involved. I also did not find a trace of Roneil's name anywhere on the Audius website, nor its blog posts, which brings me to my second concern. There are huge, and I mean huge, gaps in Audius's timeline. There were no blog posts made by Audius between September 2018 and May 2019, and again between August 2019 and July 2020. While I'm not sure what happened with the second gap, I suspect that the first gap was related to some sort of fallout, which has since been scrubbed from Audius's online presence. Now, thankfully, there is a nifty internet tool called the Wayback Machine, which lets you see what websites looked like in earlier times. Audius's final blog post in September 2018 was about the release of its white paper. If you go there today, you'll find the same white paper it released in October 2020. However, if you go back in time, you find a completely different white paper with different authors. This white paper details a completely different architecture for Audius, as well as another token called Loud, which would serve as the platform's stablecoin. The Loud token was actually mentioned in a CoinDesk article which came out around that time. Now, there are even bigger questions around Audius's operations today. According to the Audius dashboard, it has over 5.3 million active users. However, all the metrics for Audius's social media channels, app downloads, and even the song listens on its platform are a fraction of that number. The dead giveaway for me was the airdrop of the audio token, which only went to 10,000 of Audius's most active users, even though Audius claimed to have over 700,000 users at the time. In an interview earlier this year, Audius co-founder Roneil Rumburg said that most of the tokens allocated for the airdrop went unclaimed and were consequently allocated to the community treasury. Now, I don't know about you, but I reckon I'd claim free crypto if someone offered it to me, especially when it was being airdropped at a time when the crypto market was going ballistic. These facts suggest that Audius's actual user count is somewhere in the tens of thousands at best. And when you combine these huge discrepancies with Audius's patchy and secretive history and its general lack of transparency, you end up with a crypto project that warrants some caution. That said, that TikTok integration is pretty damn bullish though. I'm curious to see what you have to say about Audius. So drop me a comment down below and don't forget to leave me a like before you go. Remember to subscribe to the channel and ping that notification bell if you plan on coming again. I've got lots more content in the works, and you can see some of it being made in real time by following me on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. I also give you detailed daily crypto updates in my official Telegram. My weekly newsletter is where it's really at, though. It's got all the tools, tips, and tricks you need to add more sats to your portfolio. And you can get comfy while looking cool by grabbing some of the merch from the Coin Bureau merch store. Links to all these goodies are waiting for you down there in the description. That's all I've got time for today, folks. Thank you so much for sticking around. Take care, get rest, and don't get wrecked.